Chapter 1: First Contact. The vast, shimmering expanse of the Milky Way's outer rim was tranquil, save for the gentle hum of the USS Resolute's engines. Captain Nadia Carter sat in her command chair, the weight of leadership pressing heavily on her shoulders. Her ship, a sleek, powerful destroyer, was one of humanity's finest. It patrolled the edge of known space, guarding against the unknown. For centuries, humanity had expanded outward, colonizing distant planets, establishing outposts, and terraforming worlds that could sustain life. Yet, in all that time, no intelligent alien species had ever been encountered. That was, until now. Captain! Lieutenant Adekoya's voice interrupted the silence. His tone held a note of unease. "We've got something strange on long-range scanners." Nadia turned her attention to the young officer. "Define strange, Lieutenant." "It's a ship. But not like anything we've ever seen. It's enormous, over 5 times the size of the Resolute, and the energy readings are off the charts. It's not one of ours. And it's not from any of the known factions we've encountered." Nadia's heart raced. After decades of space exploration, the possibility of encountering an alien species had always loomed in the back of her mind, but nothing could prepare her for the reality of it. "Open a channel," she ordered, her voice steady despite the surge of adrenaline. The bridge crew worked quickly, establishing a communication link. A moment passed, then another. Finally, the view screen flickered to life. Nadia's breath caught in her throat. On the screen stood an alien, tall, with skin like polished obsidian and eyes that glowed a dim, cold blue. It wore elaborate armor, etched with symbols that pulsed faintly. The creature exuded an aura of ancient power, as if its very presence bent the fabric of reality. "Human!" The alien's voice was deep and reverberating, though its mouth did not move. It communicated telepathically, its words entering their minds directly. "I am General Vshal of the Korthan Dominion. You have encroached upon our territory. This is an act of war." Nadia felt the blood drain from her face. "We meant no intrusion. We were unaware this region of space belonged to anyone. We are explorers, not conquerors." "Explorers?" Vshal's expression was unreadable, but there was an undercurrent of contempt in its tone. "Your species is young and reckless. We have watched your kind from the shadows, seen your aggression, your wars. We know what you truly are." Nadia straightened in her seat, her voice firm. "We are a species of survival. We've had to fight to secure our place in the cosmos. That does not mean we seek conflict now." Vshal tilted his head slightly. "Your intentions are irrelevant. The Korthan Dominion spans over 1,000 galaxies. We do not negotiate. Surrender now, or be annihilated." Before Nadia could respond, the screen went dark, and the ship shook violently. Adekoya shouted from his console. "They've fired on us! Shields are holding, but barely. Return fire!" Nadia commanded. The Resolute's weapons system sprang to life, launching a barrage of plasma torpedoes toward the alien vessel. But the Korthan ship barely flinched. Its shields absorbed the impact like a stone thrown into water, rippling but unbroken. "Captain," Adekoya warned, "they're preparing another volley. We can't withstand another hit like that." Nadia's mind raced. This was no ordinary enemy. They were outmatched in every way. She had to think fast, or her crew would be obliterated. "Divert all power to the engines," she ordered. "We need to outrun them. Set course for the nearest jump point and prepare for an emergency hyperspace jump." The crews sprang into action. The Resolute lurched forward, engines roaring at full power as it sped toward the jump point. But the Korthan ship pursued relentlessly, closing the distance with terrifying speed. "Jump calculations are almost ready," Adekoya shouted over the chaos. "Just a few more seconds." "We don't have a few seconds," Nadia growled. A brilliant flash filled the bridge as the Korthan ship fired again. The Resolute's shields buckled under the strain, alarms blaring as systems overloaded. "Jump now!" Nadia yelled. The ship's hyperspace drive activated just as another barrage of energy ripped through space. The stars elongated into streaks of light, and the Resolute vanished into the void, narrowly escaping destruction. Chapter 2: The Gathering Storm. Nadia sat in the briefing room, a holographic display of the Corthan ship rotating slowly in the air. The jump had brought them to a distant outpost on the fringes of human space, but the damage had been severe. Repairs were underway, but her mind was elsewhere. General Vshal said they had been watching us, Commander Jiro remarked, leaning against the table. That means they've been observing us for who knows how long. Why reveal themselves now? Because we've expanded too far, Nadia replied, her gaze hard. We've pushed into their territory without knowing it. They see us as a threat. Or worse, an infestation. If you enjoy the adventures and stories we share, consider subscribing to our channel. By joining our community, you'll stay updated on all our latest content and become part of a vibrant group of fellow fans. Your support not only motivates us to create even more exciting and engaging material but also helps us improve and expand our offerings. So don't miss out, hit that subscribe button and embark on this journey with us. We can't wait to share more amazing stories with you. Do we have any idea how to fight them? Jiro asked, his tone grim. Their technology is leagues ahead of ours. Our weapons barely scratch them. Nadia shook her head. Not yet. But we can't be the only ones who've encountered them. There are other species out there, older than us, more advanced. If we're going to survive this, we need allies. Assuming anyone wants to ally with us, Jiro muttered. Given our track record, most advanced species have kept their distance. We don't have a choice, Nadia said firmly. We can't fight the Corthans alone. The doors to the briefing rooms slid open, and Admiral Jonas Mathis, the head of Earth's intergalactic defense fleet, strode in, his expression grim. Captain Carter, he said, nodding to her. I've been fully briefed on the situation. We've already started mobilizing the fleet, but I won't sugarcoat it, we're not ready for this. The Corthan Dominion is a nightmare we've only heard whispers of in the past. Now that they've revealed themselves, we're facing a war we can't win with conventional means. Admiral, Nadia began, I believe we need to reach out to the other species in the galaxy, form a coalition. Jonas nodded. I agree. We've sent out emissaries to every known starfaring civilization. But it's not just about defense. If the Corthans see us as a threat, they'll move quickly. We need to strike back before they overwhelm us completely. Strike back? Jiro interjected, incredulous. With what? The Resolute barely survived a single encounter. The Admiral turned to him, eyes cold. We're developing new weapons, new tactics. We have scientists working around the clock on reverse engineering the data we collected from the Corthan attack. But we need time, and we need every advantage we can get. Nadia's mind raced. They were up against an enemy that spanned galaxies, wielding technology that made humanity look like children with sticks. But there was no turning back. They had to fight. For Earth. For the survival of their entire species. Then we hit them where it hurts, Nadia said quietly. We find their weaknesses, exploit them. And we give them a reason to fear us. Admiral Mathis smiled grimly. Exactly. That's why you're being reassigned, Captain. You're to lead a special task force, deep into Corthan space. Your mission: find their command center, gather intelligence, and if possible, deliver a blow that will cripple them. Nadia stared at him. We don't have the resources to. You'll have what you need, the Admiral cut in. New tech, new ships, and a crew handpicked for this mission. This is our best shot at surviving what's to come. Nadia glanced at Jiro, then back at the Admiral. When do we leave? Chapter 3: Into the Abyss. A week later, the newly outfitted USS Resolute, armed with experimental weapons and reinforced shields, entered the fringes of Corthan space. The crew was tense, knowing they were venturing into the heart of an empire that had crushed countless civilizations before them. We've crossed the boundary, Jiro reported from his station. No sign of patrols yet, but we're picking up strange energy signatures further in. Nadia sat in her command chair, her fingers tapping rhythmically on the armrest. Stay alert. The Korthans won't make this easy. As the ship moved deeper into Korthan territory, the stars around them seemed to dim, as though even the light itself was afraid to exist in this part of the galaxy. The energy signatures grew stronger, more erratic. Suddenly, the ship's sensors lit up with alarms. "Multiple contacts, closing fast!" Adekoya shouted. Nadia's heart pounded as she glanced at the tactical display. Dozens of Korthan ships were converging on their position, each one bristling with weapons far more advanced than anything humanity could muster. "Prepare for evasive maneuvers," Nadia barked. "Arm all weapons!" But before they could react, a massive tear appeared in the fabric of space ahead of them, a rift opening into an unknown dimension. From it, a massive Korthan dreadnought emerged, dwarfing the Resolute. Its size was unimaginable, its presence oppressive, as if the ship itself was alive. "Captain!" Jiro's voice was barely a whisper. What is that?" Nadia stood, her eyes locked on the view screen. The dreadnought's hull shimmered with a dark energy, something ancient, something beyond their comprehension. And then, a voice filled their minds, cold, emotionless, and impossibly vast. "Your defiance ends here, humans. The Korthan Dominion does not suffer resistance." Nadia's hand hovered over the command console, ready to give the order to flee. But deep down, she knew there was no escape. The Resolute's systems flickered, and the ship shuddered as the Korthan dreadnought powered up its weapons. "Captain," Adekoya said, his voice tight with fear, "we're out of time." Nadia clenched her fists, her mind racing. They had come so far, fought so hard, and yet, the full might of the Korthan Dominion was now upon them. But just as all hope seemed lost, something flickered in the distance. Another ship, a human ship, appeared on their scanners, its energy readings unlike anything they'd seen before. And with it came a message broadcasted on all frequencies. "This is the Tempest. Hold fast, Resolute. Reinforcements have arrived." Nadia's eyes widened. The Tempest was Earth's most advanced warship, a prototype equipped with experimental technology rumored to rival even the Korthans. But would it be enough? As the Tempest closed in, the dreadnought's weapons charged, ready to unleash devastation. Nadia inhaled sharply. The next few moments would decide the fate of humanity itself. Chapter 4: The Tempest Unleashed. The Tempest hurtled through the void, its sleek hull gleaming against the dark backdrop of space. Its appearance was a beacon of hope for the USS Resolute, the very embodiment of Earth's last desperate gamble. Captain Nadia Carter's heart raced as the Tempest closed the distance, its energy readings surging off the scale. "Commander Jiro, open a channel to the Tempest," Nadia barked. A moment later, the comms crackled to life, and a calm, authoritative voice filled the bridge. "This is Captain Elias Reese of the Tempest. Captain Carter, we're here to assist. You've got the full might of Earth's latest tech behind you." Nadia exhaled a breath she hadn't realized she was holding. "Captain Reese, the Korthan dreadnought is charging its main weapon. We're outgunned. If you've got anything that can give us a fighting chance, now would be the time. We're aware, Resolute. Hold position. We're about to give the Korthans a taste of their own medicine." Nadia glanced at the tactical display. The Tempest was armed with experimental quantum lances, energy weapons designed to penetrate shields on a molecular level. But they'd never been tested in live combat. Now, everything depended on them working. "Jiro," Nadia said softly, "prepare for full evasive maneuvers. We're not going down without a fight." The Korthan dreadnought loomed closer, its immense size casting a shadow over the Resolute. Its weapons array glowed, building to a cataclysmic discharge. "Captain," Adekoya warned, his voice trembling, "their primary weapon is about to fire." The bridge fell silent, every eye locked on the view screen. Nadia's pulse pounded in her ears. She gripped the armrests of her chair, bracing for the end. But then, in a blinding flash of light, the Tempest fired first. A lance of pure, concentrated energy erupted from the Tempest's prow, slicing through space like a blade. The beam struck the Korthan dreadnought, bypassing its shields entirely. The dreadnought's hull groaned and buckled under the impact, its once impenetrable armor searing and melting. "Direct hit!" Jiro shouted, disbelief in his voice. The quantum lance worked! For the first time since their encounter with the Korthans, hope flickered in Nadia's chest. The Tempest had pierced the armor of a ship that spanned galaxies, a ship that had likely seen countless wars and never faced defeat. But the battle was far from over. The Korthan dreadnought reeled from the strike, but it wasn't crippled. Its weapons systems roared to life, and with a thunderous pulse, it unleashed a retaliatory barrage. The energy beams lanced through space, headed directly for the Tempest. "Shields to maximum!" Reese's voice echoed over the comms. The Tempest absorbed the first barrage, but even with its advanced tech, it wasn't invulnerable. Its shields flickered, strained under the assault. Another hit like that, and they wouldn't hold. Nadia knew they had to act fast. The Resolute had been upgraded, but it was still a destroyer, not designed to stand toe-to-toe with the Dreadnought. "Jiro, coordinate with the Tempest," she ordered. "We'll use hit-and-run tactics. Target weak points. Let's make sure the Korthans know we're not just watching from the sidelines." "Aye, Captain." The Resolute pivoted and accelerated, weaving through the chaos of the battle. Plasma cannons and missile batteries fired in synchronized bursts, striking the vulnerable areas exposed by the Tempest's initial hit. The Dreadnought responded with a volley of its own, but the Resolute danced out of reach, its smaller size making it harder to target. As the battle raged, Nadia realized something crucial: the Korthans, for all their overwhelming power, were unused to facing a coordinated, determined enemy. They had likely annihilated countless civilizations with brute force, but humanity wasn't going down that easily. The Tempest fired another quantum lance, this time targeting the Dreadnought's engine core. The beam struck true, and the massive ship shuddered, its propulsion systems faltering. "We've got them!" Jiro shouted triumphantly. "They're slowing down!" But just as the words left his mouth, the Dreadnought unleashed its trump card. A pulse of dark energy emanated from its core, rippling through space. It wasn't an ordinary weapon. It was something far more sinister, an energy field designed to disrupt matter at a fundamental level. The pulse slammed into the Tempest and the Resolute, short-circuiting systems and causing violent tremors throughout both ships. "Systems failing!" Adekoya yelled, frantically working his console. "We're losing power across the board." Nadia's blood ran cold. The Korthans had been holding back. This was their true weapon, a weapon capable of reducing any ship to scrap. But then, as the pulse tore through the Resolute, something extraordinary happened. The Tempest lit up with a brilliant, golden glow. Its hull shimmered, and the dark energy pulse seemed to evaporate upon contact. A massive shield enveloped both the Tempest and the Resolute, blocking the deadly pulse entirely. Nadia blinked in shock. What just happened?" Reese's voice crackled through the comms, sounding strained but resolute. "Captain Carter, we've activated the Tempest's final safeguard, an experimental defense system designed to counter the Korthans' dark energy. It's a one-shot deal. We'll be vulnerable after this." Nadia's eyes widened. The Tempest was throwing everything it had into this last stand. If the Korthans survived the next strike, they were finished. "We have to end this now," Nadia muttered. "Jiro, target their weapons array. Disable them before they can charge another pulse." The Resolute and the Tempest coordinated their assault. Quantum lances fired, plasma cannons blazed, and missiles rained down on the Dreadnought. Piece by piece, the Korthan ship's armor was torn away, exposing its vulnerable core. "Captain Reese, hit them with everything you've got!" Nadia shouted. With a final, earth-shattering roar, the Tempest unleashed its ultimate attack, a concentrated quantum blast aimed directly at the Dreadnought's core. The beam tore through the massive ship like a knife through flesh, obliterating its power source in a violent explosion. The Korthan Dreadnought convulsed, its once imposing presence reduced to a crumbling wreck. Fires erupted along its hull, and a series of internal explosions signaled its imminent demise. "We've done it," Jiro breathed. We've won." Nadia watched as the Dreadnought disintegrated into nothingness, her heart pounding in her chest. But she couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning. Chapter 5: The Arrival. As the dust settled, the Resolute and the Tempest floated in the void, victorious but battered. The bridge of the Resolute was silent, the crew too stunned to speak. "Captain Reese," Nadia said, her voice hoarse. "That was incredible. You saved us all." "Don't thank me yet," Reese replied, his voice grim. "We've won this battle, but the Korthan Dominion isn't finished. Not by a long shot." Nadia frowned. "What do you mean?" Before Reese could answer, the tactical display lit up with new contacts, hundreds of them. Korthan ships, emerging from the dark rifts in space, far larger than anything they had encountered before. Each one bristled with the same dark energy that had nearly destroyed them. "They're here," Jiro whispered, horror in his eyes. "The rest of the Korthan fleet." Nadia's stomach dropped. This had been a scouting force, a vanguard. The true might of the Korthan Dominion was just now arriving, and it was far beyond anything they could hope to defeat. Reese's voice was cold, filled with grim determination. "We have to fall back. Warn Earth. This isn't just an invasion. It's a full-scale extermination." Nadia clenched her fists, her mind racing. They had barely survived one dreadnought, and now an entire armada had arrived. There was no way they could hold the line. But as the massive Korthan fleet closed in, an unexpected signal broke through the calms. It wasn't human, or Korthan. It was something else. Something ancient. A voice, deep and resonant, echoed through the bridge. "Humanity, you are not alone. We have been watching. And we are ready to intervene." Nadia's eyes widened. The voice came from a ship, an enormous vessel that had appeared on the edge of the battlefield. Its design was unlike anything she had ever seen, a blend of organic and technological marvels. "Who are you?" she demanded, her heart pounding with both fear and hope. "We are the Exiles," the voice responded. "And we have fought the Korthan Dominion before." The Exiles ship powered up, its energy readings dwarfing even the Korthan armada. More ships, similar in design, emerged from the void behind it. The tide of war was about to change.